So it's the 29th of December now, and I've been enjoying my new plastic ukuleles for a few days, and I'm just about ready to put some new strings on them to give them a try and see how they're going to sound with better strings on them. As you can see, over the last few days we've had quite a bit of snow falling outside. We didn't have any really before Christmas. And here's my orange pineapple ukulele again, and I've got Aquila Strings. I got them for Christmas as well, which I'm going to put on it. And what we're going to do as I make this video and put the new strings on, I'm going to do some sound comparisons. So I'm going to record this ukulele as it is, with the strings that it comes with, these clear nylon sort of ones, and then we're going to put these white nylon Nile gut Aquila strings onto them. I've had good experience with them. I've been pretty happy with them, so that's what I'm going to try putting on. And so we're going to compare this ukulele with those existing strings to the Aquila strings, and then we're also going to make a sound comparison to my Kala KAKS ukulele, which is made of koa wood. It already has the Aquila strings on them. So basically it's going to give you an idea of how this thing sounds as it is with Aquila strings, and then you're going to compare this with Aquila strings to a wooden ukulele, just to see, what the effect of having a plastic ukulele compared to a wooden ukulele is. Obviously, if they have the exact same strings on them, it'll be a more fair, more even playing field for comparing the two. And I also wanted to mention that since I've got this, I have actually already tried it in my bathtub, and it worked pretty well. The only issue really that I had with it, well, of course, this thing filled up with water, and you could empty it out, but there were still little water droplets that were left in there for a few days. They were still there. That it took a while for them to evaporate, because you can't really get your hand in there to dry it off or anything. But this water chamber's this is one chamber. The neck here is a totally separate chamber, and here is another chamber, and it does have little leaks along the edge. Those are just two strips that are glued together. So there was water that went into there, which was a lot harder for it to get out. The water droplets stayed in there for quite a bit longer, as well as up here as well. So you want to obviously make sure you have whatever water you're going to put this in. You better make sure it's going to be clean water, because if there are little specks or anything that are in it, they're going to get stuck, inside the ukulele or inside the neck, and they're going to dry on, and there's going to be these little spots you're never going to really be able to clean off. But yeah, it's just, I don't really intend to take it in the water a whole bunch, but as I said, it's going to be good. If I wanted to play ukulele outside on a day like today, where it's snowing, I don't want to necessarily take this guy outside, because it's going to get snow on the outside of it, and it might damage the finish or damage the wood, or it's going to make the wood shrink or stretch or something like that. So this is the perfect ukulele for a rainy day or a snowy day outside. So it's been about a week now since I shot the first part of that video, and I've had these Aquila strings on this ukulele all the way along, and I've been playing it quite a bit, testing it out, seeing what I thought. And I just kind of wanted to wait a little while before I film the end of this and finish this video off, until I developed a good, feel for how I like these strings. And right after I put them on, though, I did end up doing that sound test that I described to you. So I recorded it as it was with the good strings on, and I also compared it to one of my wooden ukuleles. So I'll just give you those little sound clips now, and then afterwards I'll give you my opinions on how I think it worked out. So the first comparison is a C major scale. And then after that, I just played the same scale a little bit faster. And then next I did a little demonstration of playing some chords. So I just played a simple 12-bar blues. I did in the key of C, just playing the chords of C major, F major, and G major. And then after that, I kind of wanted to do a comparison like of a different kind of strum, like a kind of strum that integrated like a split or a double stroke into it, which is like where you're using your finger and your thumb to strum. So you come down with your finger first, it hits the strings, and then your thumb follows through, and then it hits the strings after. So the way I tested that was I just did the same chord progression as we did before, the 12-bar blues, and then we just basically made all of our strokes that kind of a stroke. And it's kind of an effect you probably would never really use, but I thought it was kind of a good way for testing it, just to get an idea. Like it's really exaggerated the amount of double strokes that was in that, but just kind of give an idea of how that's going to sound on this ukulele with the different strings and with the wood. So here's that comparison. So now that you've seen those sound comparisons, you can draw your own conclusions about how you feel those Aquila strings have affected this ukulele, and how you think a plastic ukulele like this one compares to a more traditional kind of a wooden ukulele. But I'm just going to kind of give my own personal opinions on how I think my upgrade to this ukulele turned out, and how happy I am with this ukulele compared to a wooden one. So first, you heard those scales. I think for the scales, yeah, for sure, putting the Aquila strings on there definitely helped. You can really tell there's kind of a more brighter sort of a sound that comes out of these. And I think for pluck strings, these two ukuleles were quite similar in the way they sounded. Maybe there was a little bit less sustain. On the plastic one, you kind of heard the note wouldn't last for quite as long on the plastic one, but really for the faster one, when I was playing the scale faster, these two things were really pretty much neck and neck. If I heard them with my eyes closed, it'd be really hard to tell the difference, because they do have exactly the same strings on them. And then when it came to the comparison of the chords, which were strummed on the ukuleles, again I would say that for sure the upgrade of the Aquila strings on the plastic ukulele definitely improved the way that it sounded. There was a lot more, just sounded a lot more warm. It kind of better sustain and everything on this. Although when we compared these two, I was a little bit disappointed with how this one compared. It wasn't quite as good as the way a wooden one sounds. I guess that's, you could never really expect that it would sound quite as good as wood. But, it still sounded like a pretty good ukulele when it was strummed. And then the last comparison that I did with that is kind of a split stroke that I did on the ukuleles. I think that the plastic ukulele actually sounded really, really cool for those tests. I guess it's kind of because when you're playing that style, there's already a lot of clicking and clacking kind of sounds that are happening in the ukulele. And I don't know, it just sounds better to me on this than it did on the wooden one, although I still thought it sounded really cool on this one. But actually, to believe it or not, I think the best of those three sound clips was this one, this ukulele, with the original strings on it. To me, it sounded just kind of the most percussive and the most, the most interesting, believe it or not. So if I was going to be playing that kind of a style, I would probably just put those old strings right back on again. But as I mentioned, that kind of an effect that was really just done for testing purposes. Realistically, you might put like a little clip of that into what you were playing, like a little, taste of a little split stroke in a regular, strumming sequence. but you'd never be just straight playing like that for a continuous period like I did in that example. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my review and demonstration of the upgrade that I did to my plastic ukulele here. I know I would have appreciated, having a video like this to watch before I bought this, because I did have a few concerns about the way it sounded, and I kind of wanted to see what it would sound like if I put some better strings on it. But now I've done that for you, so hopefully it'll answer some questions if you're in the same situation that I was in before I bought this. The next step here for me is I'm going to do the same thing again with my TV Pal Antique plastic ukulele, and then we'll be able to do a better side-by-side comparison of the new plastic to the old original plastic ukuleles. But anyways, this concludes this video. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. Thanks for watching.